Welcome to the Sleeper Wire Show. It's producer Steve here. We got a quick intro for this mock draft show we recorded last week. Now, it's mostly Prophet Hoos and Lucas on this one, talking about the picks that are being made in this 12-man PPR mock draft with fans and listeners from the SleeperBot app. They are covering the sleepers, the value picks, the locks, all the stuff that will go into a mock draft, and they give a lot of analysis in between our picks. So this is going to be an interesting show. You can follow along with the image file that I'm posting a link to with the podcast if you like. Otherwise, you can just listen to it on its own. Also, quick note, our website is going under some construction right now, so it's a little bit messy. It's hard to find things, if at all. But by the end of the weekend, it should be back up, ready to roll, and you will be able to get access to all of our stuff, our rankings, our podcasts, and, of course, the entry form to our Pro-Am League, which is a league where you, the fans and listeners, can play against industry professionals in the fantasy world, different podcast hosts, different analysts from different websites like NFL.com, Roto Experts, podcasts from the Fantasy Life app, too, like Breaking from the Grind. So there's plenty of opportunity to join a very fun, exciting league in our Pro-Am. All you have to do is go to sleepwire.com/Pro-Am. Make a donation to our cause, Rob's GoFundMe campaign. Any donation of $10 or more will get you a raffle ticket entry to become possibly a manager in a Pro-Am team. And every $10 you donate gets you another chance. So if you donate 10, you get one ticket. Donate 40, you get 4 chances to become a manager in the Pro-Am League. It's a really fun league, a lot of interaction, a lot of good competition. So if you're looking to step your game up, this is the place to do it. And that'll all be on our website coming up very soon. All right, we're going to jump into it right after this with this 12-man PPR mock draft with Prophet Hoos, Lucas, and me, producer Steve. We want to thank you for listening to the Sleeper Wire Show, the most interactive and accessible fantasy sports podcast out there right now. If you want to reach us anytime, you can join our new Facebook group. Just search for Sleeper Wire Fantasy Football Club on the Facebook groups. Join us there. Find us on the Sleeper Wire channel in the SleeperBot app. We're on the Fantasy Life app, and you can go to our webpage, sleeperwire.com. Look for the advice section. You can send us email questions. We answer within 24 hours or less. Oh, and lest I forget, we do 2 live shows a week during the season, the Wednesday Mail Sack and the Sunday Morning Blitz, where we answer your questions and take your calls live on the air. So keep in touch with us all year through these ways and more, only on the Sleeper Wire Show.
This is Sean Merriman, and you're listening to the Sleeper Wire Show.
Okay, so we just started our mock draft here, and we've got, you got producer Steve, you got Lucas, you got Helmet Toast, Draft Lord, Prophet Hoos, WSN21, and Real American. The rest are computer players. It's a 12-team PPR, 15-round, no defense, no kicker, single quarterback, pretty standard stuff. So, guys, I don't know if there's going to be a lot to talk about until we get, past the second or third round, probably. Doesn't seem like there's usually a lot of surprises, but
Well, Steve, see, I like this pick. Not many people, I think, would do it in a PPR, Steve, with the Zeke at the 3rd overall.
Really? Why would people not do that? What would they choose over him?
I'm surprised he was still there.
In a PPR, you're surprised Zeke is still there? Because
Gurley and Bell's going first. I'm feeling like a lot of people are going to start to not. Bell's missed. He's not going to report to camp until September 1st or something like that or whatever. So I could see Bell slipping. He had 2 bad games. I could see Zeke going there. So the fact that he even fell to Steve is kind of ridiculous.
Well, Zeke doesn't catch many passes though.
Right. This is true. But
so in my eyes, it makes DJ more valuable.
I feel like he's going to have to this year.
Well, I'm blanking right now, and this is terrible, but what is the running back's name that came on at the end of the year for the Cowboys, the pass catcher that was taking it to the house?
Rod Smith?
Rod Smith, your boy Rod Smith, man.
Yeah.
He was electric. I loved Rod Smith last year.
So, as looking at it from just a football perspective as a coach, I'm going to try to get Rod Smith the ball, and I feel like he's going to be in on a lot of different screen and any pass packages.
That does make sense, though. So, I mean, Gurley, Lev Bell, Zeke, pretty usual stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the argument that you can have, and like in a standard, I have Zeke number 2. That is my guy.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he should rack up all the yards. He should be their team. I mean, They don't have much.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I mean, they could use Dez, but he's probably not going to go back there.
Yep.
But, I mean, they're just going to use what they have. They got Hearns, they got Gallup. Those are probably going to be there. You got Terrence Williams getting drunk and blaming, fellow college teammates for ruining his Ferraris, apparently, or whatever car it was, the Lamborghini, whatever it was. How can you buy a Lamborghini in the NFL when a lot of these, it stands for not for long? I never understand how these guys just go and buy a Lamborghini like you bought it. Like, this is my car.
They just blow their cash.
Yeah. On it.
Yeah. It's like you're not always going to be racking in this kind of money.
No, not for long. You're lucky if you get a second contract in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I mean, we should probably get to the rest of these picks. So we're digressing, hella.
Okay.
The computer picked Saquon Barkley in the first round. You guys think that's a valuable pick, a smart pick? That one seems real risky to me. I've seen him going in the first round a lot lately. That's a lot of risk for me. You're the Giants expert. Have they improved that line enough?
I mean, they drafted a rookie guy that's supposed to lead Saquon, and apparently a lot of people are buying into this.
Oh.
I think this is a huge mistake, to be honest with you. I have Saquon Barkley. Right now I have him like at 11 in my rankings, and I feel like I have to put him there just because, I don't know, peer pressure. I don't know. It's just like, to be honest, the line isn't that improved. I love his talent. I just don't know if he's in the absolute best situation. They have a bunch of receivers. They have Shepard. They have Ingram. Beckham's coming back. I would imagine they're going to use Gallman some at least. He's pretty good at catching the ball. He put on some weight.
Real American at the turn, Hunt and Cook. I've seen that a lot when I've picked late in the draft. In the order, that's usually the pair that I go for. Both young running backs, good systems, good lines, should have the lion's share of the work, and that's a pretty good combo late, I think.
I'm a little nervous with Kareem Hunt because of how many running backs that they have on that team now.
I mean, they need depth. They didn't have anything. I mean, they definitely need depth. I see him getting spelled some, so I don't, but I still love Kareem
But you
Hunt.
think he still gets all of his touches? You don't see anything like what was happening towards the end of...
I don't see him losing much at all. I just can't envision, him being... I mean, what are you're saying what he's going to bust at this point, like the league first?
I mean, that's a big pick. I would rather have Dalvin Cook, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, AJ Green, and I'd probably rather have McCoy.
Wow.
Also.
Wow. See, I mean, I love Kareem Hunt. Obviously, you guys know I love Hunt. Super big on him, last year. This year, you know what? I'm all about value, though, for the most part. So I don't know. I think it's still really good value. But the problem with running backs there's going to be a bunch that's going to bust. I often trade out of the first round if I can and get like a extra second or a third round pick. So just because of the bust potential of first round picks. And on top of that, as you see in this draft, I like to draft wide receivers first just to go piggyback off of running backs. They bust, they get injured. There's guys behind them. So I usually like to take super stud wide receivers first because their value is never going to change unless they get injured. But it's not like, Michael Thomas, he's going to lose targets to who? You know what I mean? Like, who's he going to lose targets to? Who's Odell Beckham going to lose targets to?
Who? Michael Thomas? Oh, he's losing a bunch of targets to Alvin Kamara this year.
I mean, I don't know. Is he?
I mean, it's said more in jest, but Alvin Kamara is going to see his fair share in the passing game also.
Right. But, still in all, I'm just saying Michael Thomas, he is probably, if you look around him and you look at the wide receivers, the running backs around him, so you get Michael Thomas, Christian McCaffrey, Devonta Freeman, LaShawn McCoy, Freeman, injury history. LaShawn's old. Jordan Howard, for some reason, people are down on him. Jerick McKinnon, people are just thinking that's too early for him. I'd rather the stud, and I just feel like I can get pieces later that I can trust. I can get Alex Jones. I can get a Kenyon Drake, but maybe not in this one because he was taken super early. But usually I can get him, So yeah. I definitely like to take the wide receivers first. I just think it works out best.
Well, look at how many running backs got picked in the first 3 rounds, though. I mean, this is indicative of what happened last year when the running backs were tremendous.
Who's your pick, bud?
So people are going running back heavy.
I was having trouble picking there.
So you like Ingram there, even with the 4-game suspension?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play much last year in the 4 games, and he still was, pretty
doing his thing.
Yeah. My only worry about Ingram is if the team gets away from him because of that. That's my only worry, because I think that is a possibility that they can get away from Mark Ingram if they really want. I think it would be stupid because, I mean, he's a top running back every year. People hate on him every year. This is actually the year people are giving him respect. And now he's suspended for a game. So
now I want to talk about one pick here real quick.
I think you're still getting superb value from a guy that's probably going to be a top 10 anyway, just given off of what Sean Payton likes to do. Drew Brees is getting older, they're leaning on the ground a little bit more, and it's what they used to do in the past, so it's working for them.
So we had at the 311 pick was Alex Collins, which I really like that pick.
Yeah, I love that pick. I was hoping I would be able to get him, but doesn't look like it.
Well, that was Wilson too, and Wilson listens to the show every week, so I mean, like he knows where you're looking for these guys. So yeah, he's getting them a bit early.
Yeah, he definitely sniped me there. Thanks, Wilson.
He knows your tendencies.
And so we have Steve over here going running back heavy, 3 running backs in a row.
I like it.
Shit, I might go 4. I've been mock drafting a lot, and I have been mock drafting 0 quarterback strategy this year. Just filling up skill positions and looking at the waiver wire when the draft is done and seeing Eli, Alex Smith, Tyrod, Tannehill, Flacco, tons of guys that I think could stream or even be top 10. So I'm good with it.
I like that. I've done that in a few mocks, and I absolutely loved my roster because it was so stacked. It's like,
yeah, you just have options.
It's not the sexiest quarterback, but Alex Smith was off waivers last year, and he was the number 2 quarterback. So it happens every year. I mean, Matt Ryan's not getting drafted, and they just added a superb weapon. So it's just like there's so many guys. Dak Prescott's not getting drafted. He was number 1 quarterback 2 years in a row. I mean, granted, he doesn't have Des Bryant, but he has Zeke back, and that's when he was good for most part. So it's just like there's so many quarterbacks that I definitely love that because you're just so flooded at so many skill positions later.
Oh yeah,
it just looks so sexy at the end of it.
And you got trade capital for days too. So if you see something in the first couple of games, you see somebody that's looking like they're going to pop. You've got all the chips, or at least a good portion of them, to move things around and consolidate.
So this next pick of mine at 5.4 in a PPR is in honor of Hoos.
Oh, nice. What do you think about that pick? Considering you're still on the board, I like that pick. I love it. I think Chris Thomas still going to finish ahead. I don't see them getting away from what worked for them. He was top 10 last year before he got hurt.
He was top 6 before he got hurt, and I think top 4 in a PPR.
Yeah.
So getting him as my 3rd running back in a PPR to back up LaShawn McCoy and David Johnson, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And then you got Adam Thielen and Alshon Jeffrey. I'm not very high on Thielen this year just because Cousins hasn't produced a number 1 wide receiver, and there's a different coordinator there, and I know he gets yards, but I think Cousins likes short area, even though he does go downfield. I feel like it might be more of a Diggs thing, and even Diggs I feel like is going too early. Yeah,
it's a big change from last year where the two of them were going like 8-10. The Minnesota wide receivers weren't really being taken before the 7th or 8th round, and whichever one was taken, the other one was taken about the 10th round. So,
well, and it was flip-flop too last year. You had Diggs going in like the 5th and Thielen going like 9th or 10th. This year it's completely flipped and both way earlier. And we don't even know, how that's going to work out.
Well, I very much trust my eyes, and Thielen came to play ball last year, and I think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Case Keenum. So which one is, I guess, Thielen you feel like is the safer, but is Diggs more the value pick? Did that flip? Because last year that's what it was. People were saying Diggs was safer, Thielen was value. See, I see Diggs as more of the home run hitter. So in like a standard or anything with a 40-plus yard bonus like some Yahoo leagues have, Diggs gets bumped up to me. But in a PPR league, I think that Thielen comes out of this season with more catches than Diggs.
Gotcha.
See, and I could see that. I just don't want to buy it at that value when I'm probably grabbing running backs at that point just because I'm snatching up wide receivers that are elite early, and I need to grab running backs at that point. So I really haven't had any shares of Thielen in any mocks I've been doing, just because I feel like it's too many changes. I feel like, and I just feel like people are just like, oh no, you just put him out there. He's going to be, there's receivers that's coming back that's from injury that I just don't feel, I put him in the Tyreek Hill kind of category as well. It's just like Tyreek Hill, I think he's also going a little too high.
And that's what I'm looking at here is, okay, so let's look at who went after Adam Thielen. Tyreek Hill in a PPR? Maybe, but it's a brand new, it's a brand new quarterback situation there. Maybe that works out, maybe it doesn't. Brandon Cooks, okay, yeah, he's shown us he can do some things, but now he's out on the Rams, where we don't know how that target volume is going to go. Allen Robinson, a couple years ago, he was fantastic. I kept him as one of my keepers, and he burnt me and didn't do anything. So curious to see how he does in Chicago. I wasn't willing to have him as my wide receiver 1. And then Alshon was my next pick. So there's not really any of the wide receivers that came after him that I would have liked more, except, I'm looking at Larry Fitz over here that you picked up that looks pretty good.
Yeah, Fitz should easily, be at least top 14 in a PPR. I mean, we know he's not a home run hitter. But again, this is slightly different, team as well. I mean, they're probably going to do what's been successful for them. But yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, and again, this is why I like to grab my wide receivers a little bit early, because I like to what I like to do with receivers, I like to leave them in and not have to worry about them. My running backs, I'll figure that out, because I feel like there are enough running backs in PPR leagues that you will be able to use. Tevin Coleman, look at this round. Tevin Coleman, you can use him. Sony Michel, I got Sony Michel. Apparently, people are taking Rex Burkhead over Sony Michel now. Not to say that Rex Burkhead isn't there and he's getting paid a lot of money. Not a lot, but like $4 million or close to it. But why waste such a high pick? I think they're going to use Sony Michel very much like how they used Stephen Ridley a few years ago. And I think he's pretty much going to be the guy that they use mostly, and it's not that's going to be as much of a head scratcher. I don't see how you can even grab. I don't see how these guys are in near rounds like Rex Burkhead and Sony Michel. That's insane. Like, why would somebody pick Rex Burkhead and then Sony Michel like a round later? I never understood that when they're too close. It's like you're really not sure. So, like, I've been saying that a lot with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams lately too, and Ty Montgomery. And it's just like people are like, oh, well, I have the starter. No, I have the starter. No, I have the starter. It's like,
see,
I'm good, man. I don't want any pieces of that. I'm just going to take the one guy I think is going to do well, and I'm good. I'm good on the rest.
See, now, Drew Brees just came off. I got him in the 7th round. What do you think about Brees in the 7th?
7th is not bad. I'm not really. I think he'll bounce back this year. I know he was a top 10, top 12 quarterback, but he was not good for you last year. He lost you games actually last year. Actually lost you games. He lost you more games than he won you last year.
But what do you think he's going to do this year? At what value? Where's Drew Brees a good value?
That's great value. I mean, because he's still Drew Brees. He's still going to be a top 12 quarterback. I don't see Drew Brees being. I mean, Drew Brees used to be like the number 3 quarterback. The top 2, top 3 quarterback.
It was Brady, Rodgers, and Brees.
Right. And now, I mean, I still love the value. I mean, you got Carson Wentz, who's still not 100% healthy. People are taking Carson Wentz over him. Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is another one where I understand, but then I don't, just because of quarterbacks the second year they never come out and they're just like they're better than the year before. At least I feel like I haven't seen that happen in a very long time. I feel like they're pretty much the same or they regress. You know, so I don't see Deshaun Watson coming out and being second. He's the second quarterback off the board. That's insane. Like, people just need to stop.
Yep.
Don't do this. And, you know, I grabbed Tom Brady just because it was I got him in the 5th round. So otherwise, I probably wouldn't even grab Brady. I like to do what Steve does. I just go 0 quarterback and just stock up. I like what Steve did here. He's got Tariq Cohen, Marshawn Lynch. A lot of people are forgetting Marshawn Lynch. I don't like Marshawn Lynch, but he's still a starting running back, and he was still top 24. I think he was 24 last year. And you know, people love Marshawn Lynch. So if you got some fanboys that love him, hey, I'll happily trade you. I'll give you, say, Juju Smith and Marshawn Lynch, and now give me your I don't know, your maybe Mark Ingram or something when it's coming closer to the to his suspension being over.
That was kind of a slip-up pick, too. I had a guy in my sights, and then somebody got taken, so everything shifted up, because I was actually looking at Duke Johnson in that spot, which you snagged him, because I was going to go Cohen Johnson right back to back. But, yeah, I'll deal with Lynch for now. It's just a practice one, just a practice.
Yeah, and the PPR, I mean, I definitely love Duke Johnson still. I'm still hoping that he doesn't get too much taken away from him. I know they added a lot of mouths in the backfield, I guess, with Chubb and Carlos Hyde. I'm not really afraid of Carlos Hyde. I don't understand why people are still taking Carlos Hyde high. I think he'll still get used. He might start, and then Chubb comes on later. But I feel like you're going to have to trade Carlos Hyde super early. Duke Johnson should still be there, out, catching most of the passes. He was number 18, I think, the year before, and then he was 11 last year.
Yep.
So I don't see much changing. You know, they still have the same coach. They have a different coordinator, but Todd Haley likes to throw to his running backs a lot, and Duke Johnson's one of the best pass catchers in the league. I don't see them going away from him unless they trade him. And I'm on the clock, and I don't really like having to take any of these running backs here. So I'm going to go away from running back again.
What about Booker?
Booker, I need to see preseason for to buy into.
You took Trey Burton?
I didn't take Trey Burton, but I guess I got auto picked for Trey Burton.
Wow, that's who I was going to pick.
That's a terrible pick. I have Trey Burton. Not terrible meaning Trey Burton's terrible. I just like Trey Burton as a sleeper, not as a guy I would draft right there. I would definitely pick Jordan Reed over Trey Burton.
Would you? I would.
Jordan Reed's a huge sleeper of mine. Alex Smith loves tight ends.
He's he's so injury prone.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's
He's
one of the best pass catchers in the Redskins.
And this is actually one of the earliest I've seen him go. Like, I've been seeing Jordan Reed and Eifert drop down to 10, 11, 12, where I'm happy to grab them back to back and then get Doyle as an insurance or Braid as an insurance. You know, those guys are available still. Yeah, and that's another reason why if I'm not getting one of the high, I really don't want to grab a tight end early this year. I'm really fine with waiting on Cameron Braid. I know a lot of people don't. You know, they're still high on O.J. Howard, but they did extend him, and I just love Cameron Braid so much. He's so good. So tell me, I just picked up Marquise Goodwin at 8-9. That's insane. Why are people so down on him? You know what? That's an amazing question. He should definitely be higher. And you snag Marvin Jones, you dirty dog. Oh yeah, love Marvin Jones. He did me some good last year. Oh yeah. Absolutely love Marvin Jones. Number one receiver, I think, again, coming up this year. Third year in the offense. This is another homage to your squad. Check this out. Oh, yeah. See, Sterling Shepard, no one's high on Sterling Shepard this year. Did you have to reach for him, or was he taken around that area? No, I reached a bit for him, but I don't think he was coming back 15 picks later. Okay. Yeah, because I really believe this is how I view the Giants this year. So Thielen, obviously, is OBJ. OBJ is way better, obviously.
In that Pat Shermer, I'm just speaking of Pat Shermer's and in that offense, right? Sterling Shepard is Diggs. Sterling Shepard is just as talented. He's entering, I know a lot of people talk about the third year, but it's a reason why they talk about the third year. And I think he can very much be a very nice value this year. People are sleeping on him. I think he's gonna be second in targets. Meanwhile, Ingram's gonna regress heavy this year, I feel like, unless they change unless Davis Webb takes over. If Davis Webb takes over, I can see Evan Ingram being like the second target again because quarterback or rookies like to throw at their tight ends. But I could also see Shepard being featured just as heavily in him not to say he won't look for Odell for much, but I just love me some Sterling Shepard. You got me going on him. I'll let you continue going about the draft, but I definitely think he's a huge value this year.
Hey guys, I just noticed that C.J. Anderson and Des Bryant are not in the player pool. So talk about where you would grab them if they were available. I would probably shoot for C.J. Anderson, probably instead of Marshawn Lynch, actually. About what is that?
Yeah.
7th?
Yeah, I would
7th, 8th, something like that?
Yeah, I would even go maybe even a little higher.
Yeah.
I think I would probably take them. Yeah, right about there. I guess that's fair. But there's a lot of guys I'm seeing that I would rather have them. I think I'd rather have C.J. Anderson over a lot of these guys like Carlos Hyde, Tevin Coleman. I'd rather have him over, Lynch. Of course, Rex Burkhead. That went Corey Clement. Even though I like Corey Clement, I think I actually like that pick. But yeah, I just think that he's going to be.
So what do you dislike about Hyde?
Hyde, I don't dislike him so much. I just don't like his position. I mean, they added Chubb and they have Duke Johnson there. I think he's insurance. I think he's just, hey, we need another guy. He's super talented. He was a top 10 back last year. Why not add him? Very much like a Latavius Murray last year. The year prior when they brought him in. So they were like, hey, we have some money. Let's bring in a guy that's been able to do it, put some touchdowns on the ground. He did that last year as well. People are forgetting about Latavius Murray, too. He's just not going to get used. Latavius Murray had 12 touchdowns last year. And Dalvin Cook is still coming back, trying to be healthy from an injury, even though they say he's ahead of schedule. I mean, not that I'm doubting Dalvin Cook at all, but I just found that a little interesting that people are not – I don't even think he's going drafted, Latavius.
I was mistaken. I did find C.J. Anderson, so – go ahead and grab him.
Oh, you did find him?
Yeah, I did. I don't know why he didn't show up in the search, but he's in there. He's just low. He is
202.
He's below Darren Sproles and Kenneth Dixon. So
there you go.
He wouldn't have been there.
Des Bryant's 651.
Oh, is he?
If you want
him. Wow.
Yeah.
Guess that's what you get when you don't have a job, Des. You don't got a contract. You fall in that ADP like crazy. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Sleeperbot's amazing for the drafting, right? I just feel like everyone is not reaching. Everyone likes to wait, and there's this guy should be going higher, but I'm not going to take him higher because I want the ADP to stay where it is.
Right.
So I've been noticing that on Sleeperbot because when I go to Fantasy Football Calculator or some other sites, it's way different. But I noticed that about Sleeperbot, but I think it's just because of the community, and they're just like, you know what, I'm not reaching for that player. I can get him later.
So what do you feel about Blunt? How do you think he'll do in Detroit?
Well, he's working for ex-Pat, so I think he'll definitely get used. He's going to get touchdowns. And, he's probably going to get another Super Bowl ring this year.
So I just got him at the end of the 10th, and I think that's pretty decent value if you're just looking for a guy that you can flex in or use as a bye-week fill-in at the running back position.
I love that Peyton Barber is finally getting drafted. People are – they have – This have to be this one. You know what? As not big as not to say that we're not big because we're independent. We're growing, so we don't have a major behind us pushing. We don't have the bag behind us pushing us. We don't have all of these things that have happened. So, but this one, I'm gonna say Peyton Barber. The love is coming from. I'm gonna take credit for that. I'm going to because I've never seen anybody talk about Peyton Barber. And I feel like once I started talking about him, we even had some, we had Justin Boone on, and not that he was listening to me, but he was kind of, once I was talking about him, he was like, oh yeah, I could definitely see your point. And I've been seeing him raise up, and so I would like to think that in year 3 of Sleeper Wire that I have some sort of influence now. So I'm kind of happy that Peyton Barber is getting drafted where he is. Now, I just hope that he returns value because people are going to just blame me now.
I think as late as he's going, though, it's not a bad pick. I mean, the guy that picked him, helmet toast. His running backs are Drake, Miller, Freeman, Royce Freeman, Peyton Barber, and Bilal Powell. So, like, he's getting value late in the rounds here. And I think he's trying to shore up on his running backs because he's got pretty good wide receiver starters, at least.
Yeah, but I've been seeing him going undrafted, though. For the most part.
Yeah, definitely.
So here's a name for you. What do we think about Seals Jones?
Love him.
Because right now,
love Seals Jones.
290. His ADP is 292.
I've got him 12 in my PPR rankings right now.
Yeah, I like this guy.
He's way up.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a little mini breakout. I don't think he could break out fully just because I don't think the quarterback's going to be able to produce like a true number one. We say number one tight end, but really the numbers are like the first 3 or 4.
What you gotta get Sammy Biscuits. Come on now.
Yeah, but is he even going to start?
I mean, I think he starts. I don't know, how quickly Rosen hops in there or not, but
coaching staff talking him up a lot. They're talking about, he's got the brain of he's got the mentality. This is not verbatim, but I was watching a video I retweeted the other day. Some beat reporter put it out, about Rosen and how the OC was, just raving about him, like glowing reviews about it. He's just like, oh, he's this, he's that, he's this. But then he's like, hey, but he's still a rookie. I don't want you guys, to go on.
Yeah, but we hear that every single year, though. Do you remember how much stuff was coming out of Titans camp when Mariota was first drafted? He hasn't thrown an interception all off season. This is so fantastic. He's going to be a top 6 quarterback, and he came out and threw a bunch of picks his first couple of games.
Fair.
It's just a lot of coach speak to me. A lot of coach speak. They're trying to get behind their guy. This guy, Rosen had an ego shot. He was probably had expectations of going top 3 overall, maybe 4,
right.
and that's a top 3 or 4 overall in the draft, and he goes the 4th quarterback off the board. Like, they're trying to boost this guy's confidence up. What else are they gonna say?
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and yeah, but going back to Ricky Seals Jones though, I just don't know if it's a different offense too. I don't know. I haven't seen much from Sam Bradford. I mean, have we seen it much from Sam Bradford? We just haven't. So it's hard even if he does start. Yeah, Ricky Seals Jones will be used. I think he's certainly impressive eye test wise. Yep. I love to go by the eye test, but at the same time, you got to look at opportunities as well. So, I mean, they're going to spread the ball around. I like him. I want to put him higher, but he still is 12. I know he's not as high, as that for other people, but he's still 12 for me. But I want to put him higher because he's super talented. I think he has the talent. He has Njoku, he has that type of upside. Njoku's another guy who's just too many mouths around him, though.
So here's another one for you. Who is going to be the number 1 wide receiver, fantasy point wise, on the Jaguars at the end of the year?
Keelan Cole.
See? And where is he? He's like 250th over ADP or something.
Yeah, I'm grabbing Keelan Cole off waivers. Like, that's insane. Yeah. Like, I'll draft him just because I don't want to not get him. But I'm gonna have to start reaching for him.
Don't hate on my boy Dante Moncrief though.
I'm not hating on him at all. I just think that Keelan Cole's there. He has rapport with Bortles, and Keelan Cole. Get this: Keelan Cole had 81 fantasy points weeks 13 through 16. You know who was the only one ahead of him? The only wide receiver ahead of him? DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
The only. Michael Thomas was behind him with 2 points. Keenan Allen was behind him. He had 81 fantasy points from weeks 13, and they were all great. It wasn't like he just gave you one monster game and dudded one, and they were all usable games. He won you a championship. Like, he got you there and helped you win you a championship. Like, he was that good. Yep. And the fact that no one talks about Keelan Cole is insane to me. Like, people, or just they like to talk about the other receivers, but they just don't. They forgot he's the forgotten man there.
So I just picked up my tight end in the 13th round. pretty happy with him. You know, when he's on the field, the dude's playing ball. Charles Clay.
Oh yeah.
And I think he's going to be a pretty safe receiver for Allen, assuming that's who's throwing the ball. And Clay can move. He gets open like a wide receiver.
He has to be used out there. I mean, especially Zay Jones is likely out the year.
Yep. So you still got Benjamin.
Yep. You got Benjamin. Benjamin, I like a Benjamin. You know what? I had to take Benjamin in the draft the other day, and I didn't like it. And then the more I looked into Benjamin, because for some reason I just haven't paid attention to him, and I always talk crap about people that do that, like don't just write off players. Like that's stupid.
There is a value for every player.
Yeah, that's stupid to just write off players.
Yep.
I just don't like when you do that. It's just it doesn't make much sense because you're just blindsiding. When this guy comes out of nowhere, it's just like, wow, I just completely wrote that guy off. Why did I do that? Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys.
Okay, so I have another question. And, these are all things that I sort, when I'm laying down thinking about fantasy football, because that's what we all do, right? Oakland Raiders. How are those 3 wide receivers going to fall? Because any of them, Martavis Bryant or Jordy Nelson, could be the number 1 wide receiver realistically on that team at the end of the year.
Yeah, they're going to force it to Cooper a ton. Cooper's going to have a ton of targets, but I think Jordy's probably going to be the most efficient, just because I think they're going to use him in the red zone the most. He's going to be Michael Crabtree. In that offense. So I can easily see him be number 2 receiver. I know everyone's down on him. I was higher on him before they brought in before they traded for what can't I think of his name? You guys know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name. I'm blanking right now. Martavis Bryant.
Yeah, Marty B.
Yeah. So before I was higher on Jordy before they brought in Marty B, but now I'm just like, oh my god, it's so muddled.
Who is Derek Carr going to find a connection with?
Yeah, and I don't really like Derek Carr. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback.
The thing is, though, last year was an off year for him. But if you remember, before he got hurt 2 years ago, he was a top 6 quarterback.
Yeah, but what was that, his rookie year?
No, 2 years ago. That was, let me see how old Derek Carr is.
Oh, yeah, 2 years ago would have been his rookie year, I guess, because he just got paid.
He was born in 91. He's 27 years old, so he would have been 25. It would have been his 4th year.
That is impressive, and I guess he's another guy that I have to look at more. I definitely have to look at Derek Carr a little bit more.
Look at his options. He has one of the best O-lines, one of the better O-lines the Oakland Raiders have, and he now has Amari Cooper, Martavis Bryant, and Jordy Nelson. I mean, I think he could be sneaky. I see just with these options, before Matt Ryan was Matt Ryan, back when there was Roddy White and Julio Jones, everyone, I remember this specific year, like 4 or 5 years ago, everyone was taking Julio and Roddy White both in the first 3 rounds, but Matt Ryan was falling to like the 13th. And it's like, how are these 2 players expected to get this kind of production to be valued in the first 3 rounds, but the person throwing them the ball that's going to get an equal share of the points is just nowhere to be seen? And then what do you know? Matt Ryan killed it that year. So I think a similar progression is about to happen with Derek Carr this year.
I hope you're right, because he's one of those guys that I don't see going drafted either, unless you're a Raiders fan.
Yep.
And I don't like to grab quarterbacks early. So I would love to pluck Derek Carr off of waivers, and then he turns out to be the Alex Smith. That's what I look for every year. I look for who can be, because Matt Ryan was the guy last year. I don't draft quarterbacks at all. I usually wait till the very last round to take one. And then I'm just fine with whoever I have. And then I'll talk them up and try to sell them to my league mates and be like, oh, what do you mean? I can't believe you guys let this guy fall to me. He was amazing. He's going to be the number 1 quarterback. And then even if I don't believe that, I'm still keeping a careful eye on who's doing well on waivers that week, because I definitely don't like to just hold on to quarterbacks. I'd rather hold on to a running back. So I'm paying attention. And then if a guy has a good game, even if it's 1 week, but he has a really good game, I'm going to add him. Even if he's like a player that people are not thinking of or writing off. It could be Case Keenum. He had an amazing one at the top. I'm going to add Case Keenum. I'm going to add him, see what he does the next week, the week after that. And now I have, a top, and quarterback for free. And I could possibly trade him. if I don't even believe in them later, and probably grab another guy off the waiver.
So now we're on the 14th pick here, looking through what's left. I mean, there's not a whole lot in terms of running backs. Sproles.
Got Chris Ivory again? Wait, is Chris Ivory on 2 different teams all of a sudden?
He's on 2 teams, but he's there twice?
Well, I see him at 229 for Buffalo. I could have swore he was already drafted.
Looky there, Rod Smith.
Look at that. I like that pick, actually.
14-9.
He's going to go undrafted, but hey,
Yep.
a last-round flyer on him.
Yep.
Why not have him on your team, especially if he's going to do well week 1? Or even be used. I could see Rod Smith getting you like 9 to 11 points week 1, and people were just like, it's nothing. And then the following week, maybe he gets you like 13 or more, and then you're like, wait, maybe he's Tevin Coleman, you know?
What is going on? Yeah, exactly. Because Zeke, that's not part of his game. He's never going to be Bell or the play style of Bell, Gurley, DJ. That's just not how he plays. He is just a ground and pound, and amazing at it, but a ground and pound runner that is just going to run angry and he's going to make you miss.
I like that Gallup pick late that someone snagged.
He's
going to be forced to be used. I like Paul Richardson a lot as well. I love the late rounds. I that's why I'm thinking about trading away. When I trade away one of those first round picks, I'm also definitely getting like a later round pick because those are the sneaky picks. Those are the picks that Keelan Cole goes there. There's some really nice. John Brown could perform. Austin Safarian-Jenkins can perform. Alex Smith might perform. Austin Eckler, Naeem Hines. This last round is possibly more exciting than Brown's 14. Like 13 or 12.
These are like the middle rounds. I took LeGarrette Blount, Calvin Ridley, Frank Gore. Like those are all okay players to have on your team. My last 2 picks were Rod Smith and Keelan Cole.
Yeah.
Both extremely explosive players that could be real producers.
Yeah, so don't sleep on these last round guys.
No, do your homework. Don't just be that guy that does a ton of drafts and auto picks after the 6th round. Like go in for the draft for the late rounds. That is where you are going to make your steals to help you start strong in your fantasy seasons.
100%. I mean, even I got Anthony Miller. I'm not really liking much receivers. I mean, like running backs left, but I'm taking D'Angelo Henderson with my last pick just because he could be used. I mean, he's you got D'Angelo Henderson, Devonta Booker, and you got Royce Freeman that people are just painting the starter. But D'Angelo Henderson, I mean, he was a super. Everybody was high. Not everybody, but most industry people were high on D'Angelo Henderson coming into the season. And, I mean, he still has a talent. I mean, I like guys that have a chip on their shoulder once they see somebody drafted ahead of them, and they're like, oh, that's what you think of me? I'm being written off? Give me a guy with a chip on his shoulder and has a lot of D'Angelo Henderson could be one of those guys, and definitely love the late-round Anthony Miller pick. Even look at WSN with O.J. Howard. I mean, I love Cameron Brate, but if O.J. Howard does get used, he could be good. He could be really good.
He was pretty disappointing for me last year, given the amount of talent that he had. But a lot of that I'm going to attribute to Jameis Winston being equally disappointing. And I know he had a hurt shoulder, but Jameis Winston was a very difficult player to own because he's not someone you wanted to drop because we just never knew what the real status of his shoulder was. And you assume that when the coaches say, yeah, my quarterback's good to go, and when he has an injury to the throwing shoulder, that they're not really going to put him out there if he's not good to go. He's not going to start the game. And they did that I don't know how many weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's why. And you know what? I was never really high on Jameis coming into the season. I don't really like when people will just say, okay, this guy has the pedigree. We're going to arbitrarily put him high. Like, they were automatically putting him like top 5.
Well, it's because of what he was throwing to, though. You have to remember, you have Mike Evans coming off of a complete monster year. You have Doug Martin looking fantastic in the preseason, so everyone thinks that they're going to have a killer run game. And then they had just picked up Deshaun Jackson, and then they had O.J. Howard. So, and they still had Cameron Brate. So between those 4 people that he had throwing the ball to, you just figured that they were going to have a a huge offensive season, and then whenever you have hard knocks revolve around a team, there just gets extra hype.
Right. Or a distraction. I mean, and they had that, the hurricane, that kind of threw them off.
Yep.
That
threw all of us off.
Right.
With our buys and stuff.
Yep. Them in Miami, I feel like they were really affected by that. Yep. By that one game that they missed. I think the anticipation and just the readiness you're going to have for that week 1 game, and then for how that just the wind out of yourself, just like, nope, we're not gonna, plus this is damage here, this person, it's devastation everywhere, and you're in your area, you have to vacate the area, whatever. I think that definitely plays a role in and it has a toll on the players as well.
Sure.
And I don't know. It may have had obviously not the rest of the season. You can't blame one game or one hurricane on the rest of the season. But a lot went wrong.
Momentum's a real thing, though. Momentum is a real thing, and if you're the beginning of your season gets thrown off like that, like, you can overcome it, but it can make things challenging.
All
right.
So this draft is pretty much wrapped. Right?
Yeah, I want to wrap it up. I want to challenge each of you. You cannot pick your own team. You have to pick someone else's team to take over right now. You can't pick your own. So pick someone else's that you like the most.
Okay, give me. Let's just kind of take a few seconds to look at these here.
All right, so I'm going to read out some of these teams. So the computer got Todd Gurley, Jerick McKinnon, Rob Gronkowski. That's the first pick. Brandon Cooks as his number 1 wide receiver. Jimmy Graham, Rashad Penny, Pierre Garçon, Cousins, Woods, Aguilar, Luck, Cortland Sutton, Hill, which could be great, Paul Richardson, and Naeem Hines.
Yeah, that's a pretty weak. That's a pretty weak team
for a computer pick. I don't like Jimmy Graham as much, especially if you have Rob Gronkowski. Obviously, it's a computer. Probably wouldn't do that if he was a real person. But other than that,
what do you think about Rashad Penny there at the 6th?
Rashad Penny,
the turn of the 6th,
that could be a value.
The 6th.
That could be a value. That could definitely be a value. They got to fix their line, but it could definitely be a value. Chris Carson's still there, though. I think Chris Carson's still going to get used. I don't know if Rashad Penny's just going to get the workload 100%, kind of like how the whole Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber thing. I don't foresee it just being like, okay, this is what it is. So I definitely like that. The Pierre Garçon, Robert Woods, Nelson Aguilar, Cortland Sutton, and Paul Richardson. This guy basically went 0 wide receiver, and it's not bad. Pierre Garçon should still ball. Robert Woods is going to ball. Nelson Aguilar could ball. Cortland Sutton could replace one of Thomas or Sanders. So I mean that's a good team. But let me see. Just looking at, I really like Lucas' team, to be honest with you, and probably because he picked a lot of players that I wanted.
Yeah, I did it. That's what I did. I just said, you know what, Hoos is really going to love this team, so this is what I got to do here. I think, Hoos, you have a pretty strong team. The running back, especially for the first 4 weeks, I feel like you're going to be a little weak because you don't have Mark Ingram. So you're looking at Sony Michael, Duke Johnson, C.J. Anderson, Latavius Murray. So, I mean, you definitely have what you can field there, but it will be a little weak. But you have OBJ, Michael Thomas, and Larry Fitz in a PPR, and Tom Brady, which I feel like that can carry pretty good. On the back end, Real American, I think that's a good squad. Kareem Hunt, Dalvin Cook, that's solid as your running backs. And then he has T.Y., Diggs, and Edelman. And assuming Edelman comes back to form, that's a big one too. What do you think about Edelman this year? Do you think he's able to come back, Steve? Gosh,
I like Edelman a lot. I think he should be a monster. I mean, it's just he's injury prone. That's my only problem with Edelman.
And then Steve, I mean, Zeke, Howard, and Mixon. A lot of people don't like Mixon and they don't like Howard, but they are both super talented players.
I don't know why. I'm not even looking at the talent as much as I'm looking at the situation for those guys. They're going to be the guy for the most part in both those teams I'm seeing. So these are 3 running backs I think I can count on for touches week to week basis that are going to get a majority of the work. Whereas you guys were talking about all these backfields, Green Bay, Cleveland, so many. Denver, the Lions, it's all 3+ guys. You know, it's scary. There's so many running back by committees already set up that I'm going for these guys that are in maybe a 2 timeshare, but I think they're going to get the lion's share.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely love your team as well. I mean, you have super stud running backs, and then you've got other guys that can get it done. And you got pieces that you trade away, and it's primarily because you went zero quarterback. I mean, you got Alex Smith here.
I only grabbed him I only grabbed him in the last just to show that I got a quarterback. But I mean, Mariota was available, Winston was available, Tannehill, Flacco, the guys I mentioned at the beginning of the show, they're all still sitting there. Mahomes was still available, Trubisky, like these guys.
Which Mahomes could be a top a QB. Yeah. Like he's probably I know I keep saying this about a lot of guys, but Derek Carr, Mahomes,
he's my QB 13 right now, Mahomes.
Okay, see, and that guy can get it done with his feet.
Yeah, I mean he can easily. I don't know if this is crazy or not, but he could easily be a top five quarterback next year.
Yeah, he could be. Like I'm really interested to see, and you know, I have never been one. I've never really liked Sammy Watkins that much just because I don't think that he ever is able to stay on the field or be utilized properly. But this might be the best spot. I think it is going to be the best spot that Sammy Watkins has ever been in. It's much better for him than being on the Rams based on how he was utilized and on the Bills also. Being there opposite Tyreek Hill with Patrick Mahomes, which I think will complement him, and then having and Andy Reid actually I think might help Watkins, but it probably still won't be a super high amount of catches. I think Sammy Watkins could have a decent standard year, but will fall down the ranks a little bit in PPR. I don't think he'll be a big possession receiver.
Yeah, I could see that as well. Wilson 27 is also his team has also caught my eye. And that's probably also because he's got a lot of players that I like. He's got Alex
I love Alex Collins.
Yeah,
I absolutely. And at the end of the third, I mean,
yeah.
Let me. I mean, just looking at this, I think I would rather have.
Like he's gonna love his Deion Lewis pick.
I mean, Alex Collins. Mark my words. I think I think that he ends up in the second round. I think that you don't see him go that late in those drafts going forward.
I really hope not.
No, I think you do. I think you do because remember we're drafting with guys like Wilson's a loyal fan and he listens. He agrees with us on the value. But if you're just drafting in your home leagues and your friend leagues, Alex Collins could be a 4th round, 5th round steal. If nobody's looking at him like the way we are.
Yeah.
So
I love Alex Collins.
That's where he goes. I'm hoping I can get usually I can load up on wide receivers and get like the Alex Collins, Kenyon Drake, and then load up with the Sony Michels, Duke Johnsons, and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm a lot happier with that way.
I've been doing that in the late rounds
Alex
too.
Collins and those other players.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. I've been doing a lot of mock drafts either in the front or the late, like where you are, kind of in the last 3 or 4 spots, and that's been something I'm hitting on a lot too. Is that like Julio, Devontae Adams, and then Collins, Drake, Miller, guys like that, Ajayi to fill in and just get a lot of picks, just a lot of running back lottery picks like that.
See, and another one that I love, man, I just really like Dalvin Cook. I like Dalvin Cook a lot.
He should be the real deal.
You know, if you're picking late in the late, you have one of the later picks. If you're able to get an OBJ or Michael Thomas or Julio or AJ Green or even Keenan Allen or Devontae Adams, just get any of those wide receivers and then get Dalvin Cook paired with him. And then swing around and get Alex Collins. If your first 3 picks are Dalvin Cook, Alex Collins, and any of those wide receivers, like you can almost auto draft the rest of it. You're going to be pretty set, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to want to pay attention to these later round picks, but yes, I agree.
Very solid
like
base.
Real Americans team, especially if Luck comes back. I mean, T.Y. Hilton's a stupid steal.
It is, but it's like
steal.
But then again, if Luck doesn't come back, I don't think that I would touch him at the 312.
No, definitely not.
So you know what I mean? So you're gambling that Luck's going to come back,
right? I mean, we're gambling while we're gambling, right? We're gambling while we're gambling. I mean, Diggs. I'm not that high on Diggs this year, just because of the value. Not to say I'm not high on Diggs. I just don't I'd like to get him later, but I know he's not going to go later. He's just going to go. I wouldn't be mad. I've seen Diggs go in the third round, and I don't like it at all. There's just too many different things changing.
Too many different pieces.
He has the talent for sure. I could see Diggs outperforming Thielen this year just because of the change. But, again, and as Steve was alluding, he's a little bit more of the home run hitter, I think. Then this guy has Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman could be good. Corey Davis could be good, but I still really like Rashard Matthews. And I think they're still going to use Delaney Walker a heck of a lot. As people are getting away from Delaney Walker, where did he go? He went 1, 2, 3, 4. He went in the 7th round here. And I think that's an absolute steal for Delaney Walker, who was number 2 in receptions last year. He had just as amount of receptions as Travis Kelce, or I think he had 1 reception less than Travis Kelce, if I'm not mistaken. But right up there, and he's falling. You got Rudolph going ahead of him. You got Greg Olsen. Hunter Henry, I guess, was auto-picked. I mean, Hunter Henry is out for the year. But
Hunter Henry, breaking news.
Even Evan Ingram, Jimmy Graham, these are guys give me Delaney Walker over these guys. So
and there's a couple other that I want to point out. Jarvis Landry went 5'2", and Josh Gordon went 4'6". Those guys could easily, in a PPR league, either one of them could finish as a wide receiver 1.
They could. Now, do you want to have both with a team like the Browns? I feel like I want to have both of those receivers because I feel like I feel like they're not going to both pan out.
I don't know because they have Tyrod and Baker Mayfield, and that offense is going to move the ball. They're gonna win 6 games this year, 5 or 6 games, right. And they're going to be in. So that's not a lot, but it's a huge improvement, and they're going to be in some other close games. They're going to be putting up some points. Dude, Baker Mayfield's a winner. If he gets out there on the field, he is going to light up Josh Gordon.
Yeah, he's definitely, and they were. I was also looking at a video of them just kind of, actually it was Tyrod and Josh Gordon. It wasn't much. It was just them passing the ball back to each other, just like a game of catch.
Yep.
It wasn't much to read into, but I don't really like Josh Gordon's value too much. I don't know why he's going so high. I think Tyrod's still going to be throwing.
He's extremely talented.
He is. I just think that there's so many pieces there. There's so many pieces there, and I don't think he's going to get force-fed the ball like he did once he came back.
I agree, but talent-wise, though,
oh yeah,
he is equally as talented as any of these wide receivers that were taken in the 1st or 2nd round.
Oh, 100%. But again, I'm just going back into give me AJ Green because there's nobody around him.
Yep.
Give me Keenan Allen because there's not many pieces around him, especially
because Keenan,
with Hunter
and also he's just that talented.
Right. Give me Doug Baldwin because there's nobody around him. Josh Gordon, I would say give me him, but he's got so many people around him.
So here's let's bust it down into more analytics here.
Right.
How many targets do you expect Josh Gordon to get this year? Not catches, but just targets in general.
I want to say he's going to get about 112 or something like that.
Okay, so he gets 112, and now these aren't targets from the carousel that he had last year. These are targets from either Tyrod or Baker Mayfield, right? So let's say he pulls down 60%, which is not really a good number of his targets. And so, he's still pulling – if he has 65 receptions on those 112, but he's a big body. So if they're moving the ball, he's going to get some red zone looks.
Right. I just feel like he's going to, if he doesn't score touchdowns for you, it's going to be disappointing. He's going to be very Rashard Matthew-esque. I feel like he's going to be the most talented player on the team. Not to say that Rashard Matthew is more talented than Corey Davis, but Corey Davis still has to get it together.
I agree.
Corey Davis has the better pedigree over time, but I think Rashard Matthews is still probably the best player there right now.
I'm just still don't know that I'm putting much stock in any of the wide receivers there. It just doesn't jump out to me like, okay, yeah, these wide receivers on the Titans are going to win you a championship. Maybe as a flex or like a bye week fill-in, you'd want those guys, but I don't foresee those being your go-to. But with Henry though, he's got a locked and loaded backfield for himself. So that's someone that I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I know you like Matthews and Davis, though. I know that I could be eating my words here.
No, I definitely love Matthews. I don't like him as much this year just because I just feel like they're going to definitely try to I think they're definitely going to try to use Davis a little bit more. They might go away from him. He just didn't get enough targets. I don't think for sure Matthews gets enough targets. But I definitely love the talent there. I'd like to have him on my team as a flex. He's great as a flex. And he's always a value. I mean, where did he even go in this draft?
I think he went...
Rashard Matthews, round.
I got him in 12th. Yep.
12th round.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's value. You got to take a shot at him, especially if he ever gets back to, which I'm not sure that he will in terms of production, what he did on the Dolphins that final year. Yeah. So, but maybe it does. Maybe it does. It's just that's not the trajectory that I see it based on how I see the Titans game plan going out. But I am excited to watch the Browns, as weird as that is to say.
I want to bring that up because you said they'll win 6 this year.
5 or 6 games. Yep.
I'll take the under on that. I'm looking at their schedule right now. It is not an easy schedule. Not at all. Steelers, Saints, Jets, they could beat the Jets. Raiders, they could probably beat the Raiders. Then they got the Ravens, the Chargers, the Bucks, they might beat them. Then Steelers, Chiefs, and Falcons. Then Bengals, Texans, Panthers, Broncos, Bengals, Ravens. This is not an easy schedule.
On paper.
Yeah, on paper it's tough right now. At least.
That's tough. I mean, give me 5 at least. Take the under on 5. Give me 5.
All right.
I think they could get to 5. I think that's
very
5 doable for them. I don't see them getting more than that, though, to be honest. Unless everything just clicks for them. If everything goes right for them, then this could be a team that gets 8 wins.
I just want to see. There's just one of those teams that you're just excited to just see how things plays out for. I'm excited for this year. I think Jimmy's going to be fun to watch. No Garoppolo over there. Ready to see my Cowboys start playing again. Teams that I'm not as excited that I used to be excited about are, I guess I'm not really that excited to see the Packers. I'm kind of in the middle. I want to see Deshaun Watson come back out.
Yeah.
Looking to see the Eagles. KC, I'm excited. Rams, I'm excited. Giants, even though I hate them, I'm excited for fantasy purposes to see.
Yeah, I'm just not going to, and this is probably just me protecting my heart. I'm just not buying.
It's a fragile thing. I
just can't buy 2 Giants in the first round. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I can't.
I can't. Knock on wood, Murphy's hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, it should work. If you just look at it, Saquon Barkley should be a top, whatever you want to call him, top 12, sure. And then Odell Beckham is, like a top 10 talent, or not top 10, top 5 talent, top 2 or whatever you want to say. He could be whatever. You could argue he's the best talent in the NFL. I don't know. He's got Eli, and Eli hasn't looked good so far. It's very early, but Davis Webb has been outperforming him. Again, it's very early, but I don't like that. I don't like it.
Okay, guys. I think that was a really, really good mock draft. I think that went really well.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
All right, that's it for the 12-man PPR mock draft. I want to thank Lucas and Who's for being part of that one, giving all that analysis, talking about sleepers and locks and all the picks that were made and the picks that maybe should have been made. I want to thank everybody who joined us in that mock draft from the SleeperBot app, all of our friends and listeners on there. And if you didn't get a chance to join us for this mock draft, don't worry. We'll be doing plenty of these coming up. Don't forget, SleeperWire, we've got like 12 guys on this crew. And so chances are, if you want to do a mock draft, you'll find one of us in there if we haven't already started one. Mock Metal Mondays will be sporadic in June, I think. Mock Metal Mondays, if you haven't heard the promo, it is it's a 3-hour long, basically radio broadcast of just us mock drafting with you all, and we play some heavy metal music in the background. So it's really good practice for drafting season. We'll be doing a few of those in June, and then come July, we'll be doing every Monday night for 3 hours Mock Metal Monday. If you want to reach out to us, chat with us, get advice, talk with us about football, or really anything, it's easy to do. Sleeperwire.com is our homepage. You can find us there. Like I said, the website's under a little construction. Should be ready to go by the end of the weekend. Also on Twitter at Sleeperwire Show. We've got a Facebook group called the Sleeperwire Fantasy Football Club. Search for it in your Facebook groups and join that. Or you can find us on the SleeperBot app at Sleeperwire or on the Fantasy Life app at Sleeperwire. Any of those ways you can reach us, chat with us, and we'll definitely love to meet you guys. Get you ready for this upcoming fantasy football season. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.